When Jesus had again crossed over by boat to the other side of the lake, a large crowd gathered around him while he was by the lake. Then one of the synagogue rulers named Jairus came there. Seeing Jesus, he fell at his feet and pleaded earnestly with him. "My little daughter is dying. Please come and put your hands on her so that she will be healed and live." So Jesus went with him. A large crowd followed and pressed around him. And a woman was there who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years. She had been under the care of many doctors and had spent all that she had. Yet, instead of getting better, she grew worse. When she heard about Jesus, she came up from behind the crowd and touched his cloak, because she thought, if I can just touch his clothes, I will be healed. Immediately the bleeding stopped and she felt in her body that she had been freed from her suffering. At once, Jesus felt power go out from him, and he turned in the crowd and asked, "Who touched my clothes?" "You see the people around you," his disciples answered, "and yet you can ask, 'Who touched my clothes?'" But Jesus kept looking around to see who had done it. The woman, knowing what had happened to her, came and fell at his feet, and trembling with fear, told him the whole truth. He said to her, "Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace and be freed from your suffering." While Jesus was still speaking, some men came from the home of Jairus, the synagogue ruler. "Your daughter is dead," they said. "Why bother the teacher anymore?" Ignoring this, Jesus said to the synagogue ruler, "Don't be afraid, just believe." He didn't allow anyone to follow him except Peter, James, and John, the brother of James. When they arrived at the home of the synagogue ruler, Jesus heard a commotion with people crying and wailing loudly. He went in and said to them, "Why all this commotion and wailing? The child is not dead, but asleep." But they laughed at him. After Jesus had put them out, he took the child's father and mother and the disciples who were with him, and they went in to where the child was. He took her by the hand and said, "Talitha, cum," which means, "Little girl, I say to you, get up." Immediately, the girl stood up and walked around. She was 12 years old. They were greatly astonished by this. And he gave them strict orders not to tell anyone about this, and told them to give her something to eat.